And the gold goes to the clown. This is your look at the new McFarlane Toys DC Multiverse Batman the Arkham Asylum Joker Gold variant. An insanely homicidal supervillain, the Joker's white skin, green hair, and blood-red lips belly the chaotic nature underlying the cartoonish appearance. The self-styled clown prince of crime has no superpowers beyond a capacity for incredible violence and a skill at creating deadly mayhem. He frequently concocts elaborate schemes to entrap his arch-nemesis, Batman. Before we spend some time with the Clown Prince of Crime, the first thing we're going to do is figure out how tall the figure actually stands. While I'm getting those calculations all in order for you, the viewing audience, I'd like to send out a big thank you to the folks over at McFarlane Toys who provided the sample of the gold variant Arkham Asylum Joker. The figure stands at 8.4 inches in height, and switching that to centimeters, then you're looking at the figure standing 21.4, almost 21.5 centimeters tall. Unfortunately, I can't at this moment find where I put my Batman Arkham Asylum Batman, so I won't be able to do that as a comparison. However, though, I can move the gold-colored variant of Joker aside and most definitely bring in his colored counterpart. So you guys can see the molds are exactly the same to one another. They simply have just sucked the color off the one on the left and painted it all in exquisite dark gold here on the new release. Other than that, though, there's not really much at all that changes to this one, nor changes to the accessories that come included with them. Looking at those accessories, the first thing we'll have a look at is the trading card. Like with the blue variant Batman Animated Series Batman we just recently had a look at, Arkham Asylum Joker, all clad in gold here, also gets himself a very unique card. While the image in the middle is the same, as well as the read-up down below, definitely the foil treatment outside the outer parameter, the outer border of the card, is what stands out the most. I really like the way that they do that with the variant releases. On the back, there's nothing that really changes. The read-up is exactly the same. The image at the top is also the exact same. So really on the back, you really wouldn't know that this is a different card until, again, you look at the front of it. Ooh, look at that metallic silver. I'm going to definitely be putting that where I put all my other cards into the trading card sleeves. I've been collecting these cards with every one of the releases that Todd McFarlane and his team have released with these figures. I'm definitely going to hold on to this. Put that to the side for the time being, though. Included as well with Joker, he comes with a display stand. Display stand, short of my fingerprint down below there, doesn't change at all to the ones that we had gotten before. Here is just the one that came with the Arkham Asylum Joker. But I mean, really, this could be any one of the stands. It has come with any one of the figures, short of Batman, or short of Superman, actually. The comic Superman came with a clear stand, but all the rest of them have pretty much come with this sort of stand treatment. I would say, though, the fact that I do have enough of these kicking around with all the various figures that they've released so far, I feel it almost would have been a fun time to release the stand also done in gold. Now, something I will be talking about with this particular figure is it sort of feels more like it's a statue of Joker, and I think you could have some real fun with that. The question would be, is if this was a statue of Mr. J, would the base also be made of gold? I would have to kind of debate that back and forth. Maybe you could say that the stand should be black, while the stand, the bronze statue standing on top of it, would be, of course, made of metal. But still, I think it would have been fun to make these stands the same color. Because again, after all, we certainly have enough of these going around that I can always use one of these if I change my mind later on. Anyways, putting that to the side. The other thing he comes included with is, of course, his gun. And just to show you how those molds are the exact same to one another, we'll bring in the one that came included with the original Arkham Asylum Joker to show you that there isn't really anything at all that changes to these. Other than, of course, the swapping of the color from that silver with the black handle now to, again, this sort of dark gold or dark bronze color. Really like the look of that. I really like the fact also that all these accessories have this treatment done to them. It would be a bit strange if they had made Joker, for example, all in this color, and yet then still made his accessories either full color or in black. So I like the fact, again, that they give you the accessories the exact same color as Joker. Sort of plays then into the idea of this being more a statue than an actual figure. Also to come included, the same things that we had gotten before. He does get the chattering teeth, an open and close version of it. The little wind-up crank on the side is not something that actually moves. Twisting it would only involve this then breaking off and you running upstairs and crying in your room. Please don't twist these. But at least you get two versions of them. Like I said, you get one open, one closed, and they do technically fit into Joker's one hand. This hand is really suitable best for holding his gun. This is the hand you really want to focus your efforts on. They have it in such a way that you can kind of take the chattering teeth and sort of wedge it in between the thumb and the pointer and the thumb and basically like the three fingers along the top. This is not something that's going to work the first time you do it. It will work probably several times later, but it does fit in his hand, though it's very prone to falling off. I find of the two, the one that has the open mouth seems to be the one that stays in the most. But again, you sort of have to wedge it against these fingers. Sometimes it catches, sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes you'll find yourself picking the teeth back up off the floor, because that's going to be the thing, that's going to be the place where they end up. And yeah, you can see, he does hold it in his hand. But again, it's just more praying a whole lot of luck to get that in place. But when it is in place, boy, that does look pretty cool, I have to admit, in his hand. That being said, let's have a closer look at the Joker. We'll start first with his face. You know, I will say this. Let's just, while I'm making this into a talking point, let's just bring in the other Joker so that you can see the difference between the two. This sort of gives you an idea of what underneath all of this paint the figure actually would look like. And in a way, actually, it's nice to then see it done in this treatment, because you really see some of the details that may have been missed just because of all the paint that they had added over top of the face. Now, obviously, they would want to be able to paint the face white. And through that process of adding an extra layer of paint, admittingly, yes, some features get lost. Unpainted prototypes tend to show a lot more detail than the ones that are finally finished and painted. But really, when you see the two side to side, you really admire the amount of work and care that they put into this head sculpt that, again, almost gets a bit lost when you look at this one right here. In fact, I almost even like when you look at the two, I see the bottom teeth a little bit more visible than I actually did on this one. And I think it's just the case that when they were painting the bottom lip, the teeth on the bottom had to unfortunately get then covered a little bit by that paint. You really see a lot more of it, especially when you're looking at this head sculpt. It's a really stellar looking head sculpt. And again, nothing to necessarily the mold, but I almost feel like by painting over top of it, you lose some of those details that I really would have loved to have seen. And now I can actually be able to see it on this particular figure. As for the rest of the body, there's nothing at all that changes between the two. It's basically just this figure painted like this. But again, like when you see it really close, do you then admire how much sculpting that they were able to actually put to the surface of the plastic? Some stellar sculpt work here when you look at the jacket, for example. And yes, it's not as lost in the outfit as it does maybe in the face. You still see a lot of that also in the outfit on this Joker, but I think it stands out much, much more when it's done in this dark gold color. McFarlane Toys, by the way, in the past had done gold releases of many of their Spawn figures. Those were figures that I had in my collection for a while and just ended up ultimately selling them. I sort of wish now I had the chance to hold on to them and still have them in my collection to this day. You still see these shoes done there as well. The pants are very nicely sculpted as well, just all done in a different color scheme. By the way, FYI, the hands aren't different at all from one another. They stay exactly the same. The sculpts have not changed from either one of the hands. I thought perhaps like this hand was a little bit more sculpted to specifically hold the chattering teeth. Although again, when I'm looking at it now, I think it's just simply a case that the hand is bent down. There we go. When you look at the two, I don't think there's anything different between those hands. The chain is in the same place as well. Nothing gets altered and changed at all to the mold on those. It's simply, again, just taking this figure and treating it to an all gold treatment. Again, you can see the back of it very nicely sculpted. Be a case, certainly, when I'm looking at a figure like this, I can't certainly talk too much about the paints. The paint application is really sort of null and void when we're having a look at a figure like this, because really, all of it is just one color. Getting a quick close-up look again at Joker's face. What a fantastic head sculpt. In a way, I'm really glad that they actually released this figure done in this singular color scheme, because again, it allows you the opportunity to really see what was working behind the scenes before they painted over top of the figure. And through some of that, unfortunately, like I said, the details, for example, on the top of his furrowed brow there sort of got a bit lost on the release in full color, as well as some wrinkles done on the side of the face. I feel that got a little bit lost as well. Now, you could display this simply just as the Joker as a figure, but I kind of like the idea, really, of having this in a permanent sculpt, and sort of this being a tribute statue that Mr. J has made for himself. Sort of the arrogance of the Joker. He literally would want to have a statue of himself standing in the background of his lair. That's probably what I would almost imagine seeing this figure posed more so. That's probably what I'm actually going to be doing in my collection. I'll be putting this particular Joker in a pose, and I'll literally just have him standing in the background of the real colored Joker, sort of then to indicate that Joker has had a monument, a tribute statue made in his honor. Just a great looking figure, though. Again, we'll look at the articulation in a second, but again, just one last look at his face. What a great looking head sculpt. I would ask myself, really, what other things they could do with this particular figure other than painting him obviously in full color and painting him all in gold. I'm not really sure what else I would do with it, but I would certainly like to see more versions of him. All right, so let's have a look at the figure's articulation. The head rotates all the way around. I believe I may have said this when I first had a look at this figure. He has really good articulation, good poseability with that large ball joint at the top of his neck. It does allow for a wide range of motion, both the head going up, the head going down, and the head going back and forth. Just like that. Oh, get a good close look at that head sculpt on the back. Love the way that they've sculpted the hair on this particular one. Oh, I could spend a lot of time looking at this one. The arms rotate all the way around. He does still have that cup socket joint that we've seen on various of the DC multiverse figures, and this one has it. It's a little bit smaller, though. It doesn't stick out as much. But the arms do rotate all the way around. You can hinge the arm back and forth, and he does have a swivel cut at the top of his bicep. In addition to that, he has a double hinge on the elbow, so you can pat himself on the back if he wants to. Heck, maybe he could even design and make a statue of him patting himself on the back. That would be the real arrogance of this clown. Anyways, though, he does have the articulation in the hand. You can rotate that all the way around. Hinges back and forth as well. This section of his body may or may not have mentioned this when we first had a look at this figure, but like his jacket, for example, has noticeably soft plastic that they used. I got to feel like they probably overlaid it on a body frame that was underneath it, and that allowed them the opportunity to basically reuse a mold that was probably going to be used for other figures. And like I said, they just simply put a rubber, kind of literally a rubber coat over top of it. But he does have articulation basically as a ball joint at the bottom where his waist attaches to his torso. He has a ball joint happening right there. Legs split out. I noticed when I move these legs, there's a ratcheted joint, and in fact, when you see the inside here, there's these little ledges that, as you move the leg, it catches on those ledges, and you sort of hear like a little ratcheted click. I like that. The legs go forward, the legs go back. He has not much of a swivel, but basically just where it's attached to that ball joint at the top there. He has a double hinge on the knee. And then he does have articulation in the foot. Not only does the foot rock back and forth, you can rotate the feet all the way around if you want to, but the Joker also does have toe articulation. Nothing at all got changed from its original release. Lastly, let's go ahead and just put Joker in a pose. Not really sure again. Let's grab, where is his gun? Where's his gun? His gun's right here. Let's get it into his hand. Like that. And maybe we can just do like some pose of the Joker. We'll just go like this, get his display stand. Why I'm doing all of this while I'm talking is, again, probably the way I'm going to end up displaying this figure. I think of it less as a figure of the Joker, and I think of it more as a tribute statue that I can put behind the Joker when I have him on display. Now, there was also a gold release Batman. I certainly would still love to pick up that figure, but I don't think Batman would be as arrogant to actually have a monument statue made in his honor, whereas I feel like Joker would do that. And for that reason, when it comes to displaying this, I'll less likely display it as a variant color scheme to Joker, but instead as a statue that Joker can have in the background there, laughing all the while. Alas, poor Bats, I knew him, Horatio. Back in the day when McFarlane Toys was first producing his figures, specifically his Spawn stuff, every once in a while he would release a color variant, generally in gold. Of course, early collectors into the days of those collecting figures of McFarlane's would be clamoring to grab those because those would be of higher value. It also gave you a chance really to see what those figures sort of look like as prototypes because there wasn't any real paint on them other than just the gold. Fast forward, of course, several decades later, McFarlane's doing it again with his DC Multiverse figures, giving us both gold versions of Batman and Joker from the Batman Arkham Asylum game. And while I haven't picked up Batman just yet, I have to say I'm really loving the look of Joker here. Not only do you get sort of the idea of what the sculpting was possible at being for this particular figure before it got painted over. Unfortunately, when you paint a sculpt, you lose some of those details. And I feel like looking at what I'm seeing here with the gold version of Joker, yeah, there was some fair bit of detail that was lost when the face got painted all in that chalk white. You can now kind of really appreciate what they would have done to the sculpting of this figure before it made it to the paint stage. And that's one thing I really like about this particular figure. But the other thing is the fact that I think for my own personal display of it, I'm looking to display this more as a statue than I am an actual figure. The idea of having Joker standing in front of a monument statue made in his honor, I think is sort of the arrogance I would expect to go along with the Clown Prince of Crime. So for me, I would be likely displaying this more as a statue and not necessarily as a figure itself. I still wish that the base was probably done in that same color as the rest of the figure instead of just done in all black. But I guess if I wanted to, I could probably go in and paint the base myself to have it closer in color scheme to the rest of the Joker's body. Let me know down below in the comment section, though, what you guys think of the gold variant of the Joker. A real great opportunity to see up close what the sculpting was initially before the figure got painted over. Again, a big thank you to the folks over at McFarlane Toys who provided the sample of Mr. J that we had a look at in this review. If you guys are new to the channel and liking the content you're seeing, consider the idea of hitting that subscribe button down below. Move on over to that friendly notification bell. People have asked what that friendly notification bell is for. It's basically just to tell YouTube that you want to be notified every time there's new videos on this channel popping up. I can, of course, throw into the mix as well a friendly reminder that Monday to Friday, 12 p.m. and 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time is when you'll find new videos popping up on this channel. So if you do your math, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and yes, Timmy, Friday as well, 2 videos a day, that's 10 videos a week. It's quite easy to get lost in the mix and miss out on some of those videos. So it's a good idea to hit that bell reminder, that bell notification, so that you get those friendly reminders when new videos are popping up. Speaking of also McFarlane's stuff, we're going to be having a look at a whole bunch of McFarlane toy reviews lined up and coming soon to this channel. That will include more DC Multiverse stuff, that will include more Mortal Kombat stuff, and that will also include more Fortnite stuff. There's definitely a lot more McFarlane toy reviews coming soon to this channel, so keep those peepers ever peeled. As always, guys, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.